Well, this is my 2002 Mercedes-Benz that I just bought a few days ago. And I got a hell of a deal on it because it has this big horrible dent in the liftgate. Not just the liftgate, but it also pulled that metal off the bumper right there. So it's a mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that board on the back side and a couple of eye bolts and that nice vintage made in USA come along. And we're going to see what happens. So we got a couple of 1/2-inch eye bolts that go through there and into that board that goes all the way across. What could go wrong? So here's my dent pulling rig. Big strap around a tree. And the come along. That has some screwed up cable that won't go through the pulley. Fortunately, there's still enough good cable there so I can set up several feet of good pulling. And then I have the chain. And this is in a hole in the metal right here, and I'm just going to pull it out slowly, and then I can use the chain to pull up the slack without having to reset the come along. So I don't think it's going to take a lot to pull that out, and that'll put the taillight back in position. And I can tell when it's back because this plastic will come back to here. Looks like I got about 3.5 to 4 inches. I have to pull that. It's quite a bit. Anyway, we'll see what happens. So we move the hook over from here where it's already wanting to bend the metal down and pulling the car back and spinning the tire. So I moved it over one, and now we're going to do the same thing here, pull it back until it starts pulling the car. Took the car back around to the electrical outlet at the house and drilled these 2 holes so I can get the hook in there. So after pulling and bending and drilling and hammering for a couple days, this is what I came up with for a solution. Cut the top off that channel that's crumpled, and I've got a thick piece of metal behind it, and the thick piece of metal has a bunch of holes through it that I can get the hook into, and then the piece is, of course, bolted to the sheet metal that we're going to pull. Because even after all this, we still have a little ways more to go with pulling this corner out. So let's see what happens. See how the hook goes in any of the exposed holes and it pulls the metal out. Of course, it doesn't pull it all out because we still need to pull this corner piece some more, but it's coming slowly but surely. So after pretty much a solid week of getting my ass handed to me by this car, we've got the hatchback point back to where it should be, the seal very close to where it should be, the tail light very close to where it should be. Because I don't know what condition the wires are going to be on the hatch, that should be here today or maybe after Christmas, we'll see. Should be here today. But because I don't know what the condition of the harnesses are, I'm going to pull these old harnesses out of this crumpled hatch. So the first thing is to unplug that one and the latch that's not working there. And there are some clips, metal clips. Hold the wire. Then it comes out there, and there's one that comes up this side and one that comes up on the other side. So we'll take those out one at a time. Got the old hatch off. Got all the wiring pulled out because the wiring is attached to the car. There is no plug on both sides. Just pop these panels out to get to the nuts on the other side of those holes, and I'm going to use some silicone on both these places before the hatch goes on. And now I need to get the old wiring out of this hatch before it goes on. So I took a silver Sharpie and I marked the areas where the wires go to help me get those other wires in there. And then I gotta be really careful with these wires here to get those new wires into the exact spot where they're supposed to go. It's coming along. So this unplugs right here. This unplugs. This unplugs from the defroster. There's a little plastic clip that you pull off, and then these things pull right out. And then we can just twist that channel up enough to get the wiring harness out from underneath, and surprise, we didn't break any of it. So get your neighbor to help you. And then you see how I've taped the wiring up so it'll go through those holes on both sides, and we just kind of feed it very carefully through. And I used a little silicone sealer on the base where the hinges are so we don't have water leaking in there, and we're moving right along.